this last video, we'll discuss Roosevelt's foreign policy, as well as a brief description of the foreign policy of the other progressive presidents, namely Taft and Wilson. Roosevelt's foreign policy was known as big stick politics, and this is because he used the phrase "speak softly and carry a big stick." He attributes this phrase to a West African proverb, "speak softly and carry a big stick." And the idea of it is that you negotiate with other countries peacefully while threatening them with a big stick, which is our military. So you go in and offer peaceful negotiations at the same time carrying your big stick, the threat of military intervention. Roosevelt added on to the Monroe Doctrine, and if you remember, the Monroe Doctrine is the basis of U.S. policy, isolationism. It warned Europe to stay out of the Western Hemisphere. Don't colonize over here and don't interfere with countries in this hemisphere. The Roosevelt corollary was an addition to the Monroe Doctrine that said that the U.S. will be the only nation to intervene in affairs in the Western Hemisphere. This is big stick politics. It says that the U.S. will assume police power of this hemisphere. So if there's a problem in a country in this hemisphere, the United States will be the one to handle it. The U.S. will restore order in this hemisphere and deprive Europe of the excuse to intervene or colonize at this side of the world. In 1907, Roosevelt sent a fleet of brand new Navy battleships on a, quote, goodwill cruise around the world. This was a show of military power, and its big stick politics exemplified. Taft's foreign policy was slightly different. His was known as dollar diplomacy. And in his presidency, the United States used financial policies to influence other countries. Money. Taft substitutes dollars for bullets. And he uses dollar diplomacy to intervene in Nicaragua and other countries in Latin America, promoting democratic governments. Wilson also has slightly different foreign policy. His is known as moral diplomacy. And in this strategy, Wilson refuses to negotiate with illegal or corrupt governments. And as an example, Wilson sends troops into Mexico to help a Mexican reformer, Venustiano Carranza, successfully overthrow the regime of Huerta. In 1916, Francisco Pancho Villa led a raid into New Mexico that killed 18 Americans. And this was an act that was designed to protest U.S. involvement in Mexico. Pancho Villa didn't appreciate Wilson's intervention and his assistance to Carranza. So Wilson sent in General John J. Pershing to chase down Pancho Villa. Sent him into Mexico with 10,000 troops, and they were not successful. They never found him, and actually Pershing, before he could continue much further, was sent to Europe to fight in World War I. So to look at the bigger picture and discuss the impact of U.S. imperialism, we can see now that the U.S. is a world power. It has left its stamp on the world as a powerful nation. It ends our isolationist policy, and it sparks a debate over the moral and ethical idea of imperialism. Some people don't agree with the idea of colonization, imperialization, and intervening in other countries. It also creates anti-U.S. sentiment from other countries around the world. This is the first time that we're starting to see kind of widespread anti-U.S. feelings. So that's it for this series of videos. We'll talk more about Roosevelt and big stick politics in class. See you soon.